Welcome to another grand episode of the Life Worth Wasting podcast. I am your host, the one, the only, the Devo, and I am here with...
Bob.
We are here for RIN, Daughters of...
Mnemosyne? I think it is.
Something...
Considering these are the last two episodes, we should really learn what it's actually called.
I don't care. I love these episodes. Episodes 5 and 6. Goddamn, this show redeemed itself, as far as I'm concerned.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
These are the best two episodes of the whole series. Come on.
They were pretty good, but the ending confused the fuck out of me.
It's a little confusing. I know a lot of people online hated the ending. I actually really I like most of it. Oh man, I got so much stuff to talk about. Got so many notes. This easily took 2 hours to write, and that's a combination of because I'm a illiterate sperg and I can barely type. But it had so many thoughts and things I wanted to say, so it's gonna be super exciting. Alrighty. Bombs falling in an already destroyed city, which appears to be in America or possibly European country, I'm unsure. Not really important. A female UN soldier tries to comfort a child when she is shot down by another woman who is also in a UN uniform. Also, the UN are a bunch of pussies and would accomplish nothing, so they really have no reason to be there.
I didn't think the UN had a fucking standing army.
I don't think they do. I think it's all volunteer, isn't it?
I don't know.
They kick away the other woman kicks away the child and plunges their hand into the woman's chest, struggling to remove their time fruit. Her helmet is knocked off during the struggle, revealing that the woman looks just like RIN? Dun dun dun! It's clearly not RIN. I mean, her facial expression, her eye shape, it's not RIN. Like, I get that you want it to be RIN, it's not. This entire episode is them trying to be like, is it not? It's totally fucking not. We transitioned... Go ahead.
I thought it was RIN. I thought it was
Really?
RIN. She just had gone through some shit, like maybe Mimi died or something.
You thought she went insane?
Yeah.
No, man. You need to drink yourself some Smirnoff.
They killed the dog, man. They could have killed the
Spoilers,
dog
man.
again.
We're like 30 minutes out from that.
I'm just
We'll
saying.
get there, man. And I actually found a way to make it sad, too. We transitioned to Kyoto in 2055 at a shrine where a nun crosses out a name from a list of what we are to presume is immortals. Next, we go to the Mano. I can always say Mano is a hard thing for me to say. The Mano property, where Koki Jr. looks at a hollow screen full of charts. A young woman in her underwear runs up calling him Papa. She asks if she can download a new purse for tonight. He agrees, and she pulls out a screen with a list of bags where she uploads a purse into her current purse, changing its physical appearance.
We need technology.
I'm not 100% sure how any of this technology works, unless there's projections everywhere or the purse itself is its own projector. Not 100% sure how it works, but all I could think of is the book The Crystal Age. Have you read the Crystal Age book, Bob?
No.
Okay, so The Crystal Age was a book that was written not a really, really long time ago, but in the last 30 years, I believe. It's not a super long read. It's one of those books where they took technology that was just starting to come up in our reality and then did that thing that fiction likes to do where it takes it to the 10th degree, in 100 years, where are we going to be at with that technology, right? So they took the concept of the internet and said, what if your value as a person is based on your bandwidth? The faster your bandwidth is, the more the more money you make or the more prestige you have equates to more bandwidth. And when you have more bandwidth, you have more wealth. Because the way that their technology works is that essentially your internet is literally a tube for nanobots. And those nanobots come out and then produce whatever you want. It can produce anything, food, a new car, and the more bandwidth you have, the faster those robots can do it. So if you're poor and you want a Porsche, it could take 6 years for those little robots to build that Porsche. But if you have a really cushy job, you have that tube is so wide, there's so many nanobots coming out, they can build that car in a minute. That's kind of crazy, right? Because that's kind of where the internet is now. Like, the more money you have, the more bandwidth you have, the more power you have, theoretically.
I think that's kind of retarded, but okay.
Oh my god, it's such a good thing.
I just want the digital clothes shit to be here.
You just want chicks in their underwear. They basically are already.
I want digital clothes that make me look thin.
How would that? It's gonna warp light around you.
How do you know that's not how it works? She puts on a fucking dress from nowhere.
Yeah, but just like whenever you're walking down the street, if people look at like the background, it's all like bent because it's just warping everything around you.
I don't care. I don't care.
You know what's easier than really expensive technology to warp light? Put the Big Mac down.
Yeah. God damn.
Oh, Jesus. He tells her that she needs to start wearing real clothes outside and around the house instead of just hologram clothing.
I do not mind the hologram clothing, though. She hot.
I don't. Whatever. She's totally generic anime teen. I didn't care. She doesn't have anything sexy about her at all. She's also her English voice is hyper annoying. Her name is
half naked and
yeah, that's true. Her name is Michio, right?
Yeah.
All right. Later, Michio rummages through her mother's belongings to find a necklace to wear. She comes across a memory card that she inspects to find home videos of her father as a boy. And
I think that was her grandmother's, not her mother's.
No, because that was Koki's wife's necklace. Right?
Yeah, and if she's Koki's granddaughter.
No, she's Koki's daughter. She called him Papa, not Granddad.
No, she's Koki Jr.'s daughter.
Well, yeah, okay. We're getting this confused, because the video she watches is of Koki Jr., not Koki.
She is... Yeah, and that's fucking Koki's, like, wife or whatever, isn't it? Pretty sure that's her grandmother's shit.
You're right, I'm sorry. I was confused by what you were disagreeing with me with. Yes, that is her grandmother's necklace. Not super important, but yes, you were correct. In the memory card, she also finds a folder titled RIN. She opens the folder to see a video that Koki Jr. had recorded of the night he spent in Rin's apartment. Not much else goes from there. That night at a fancy party for rich people, they talk of rumors of the fruits that grant immortality. In the dub, it's super forced because like everybody's just talking about time fruits, and it's like, what the fuck? People aren't gonna have this conversation. Michio is brought a drink by her friend boy. She says that there's no good guys at the party. Friend boy asks, what about him? And she just blows him off. She wants a nice guy who's a millionaire that will just give her money cuz. Wow, he's a huge cock, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's nice. Having been that guy for a while, it's miserable. Don't do it. She notices that in the crowd is a woman who looks just like Rin from her father's video. Cut to the Oval Office where the president is surprised by Apos, but instead of calling someone in to blow his fucking brains out, asks what he wants. That was just... Oh boy, how did you get in here? What? At a software company, we see a woman that appears to be Rin, looking all nerdy loser cute-like, with her like long like cardigan sleeves and her like
except
her
with
hair.
Like a dead face.
Yes, there's a couple scenes where her face gets really sexy, like it like cuts to her like drinking like a juice box and like it has her lips all pink and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's good, you got me there.
Yeah, but most of the time it looks like she wants to kill herself.
That's true. She does look very depressed, which is weird since this is technically when she's at her happiest. She brings her work to her boss that I swore was like a David Bowie looking guy, but in actuality is a woman. Very odd looking character. Michio sits in her VR classroom where the professor goes over the legend of the Emperor that sent his men to find the secret of immortality, where one man found it, but by the time he returned to the Emperor, he was already dead. That's kind of an interesting story. I've heard it before. I thought it was kind of neat. And I also think it's fitting for that to be kind of the basis for this story. The professor foreshadows by asking Michio if she has any legends in her bloodline. I wonder if that will come into play later, Bob. Grinny face. Maybe. Somewhere at a sexy nightclub with topless waitresses, David Bowie woman is approached by who she believes to be her employee disguised as Ren, approaching her for sex. which we do not see, which is weird because we see every other sex scene in this show but that one. So I wonder if the RIN lookalike doesn't actually do anything. It just kills her. We then see Michio and Friend Boy walking through the woods, drunk for some reason, where they stumble upon the David Bowie woman dead with a hole in her chest, and not a pile of dust. Even though they've always been a pile of dust every single time we've seen them. But this time it's just a woman dead with a hole in her chest. That's convenient. She calls the police, who can't seem to find the body, which makes no sense, since where the fuck did her clothes go? When they turn to dust, their clothes don't turn to dust, so the cops should still find bloody clothing. They ask Michio if she's high on illegal downloading. I want to get high on some illegal downloading, bro. I'll feel good. Get that tour directly into my veins. Bob, did your mic die?
No, I just have nothing to say.
Okay. In her room, Michio pretends to be Sherlock Holmes as she tries to put the pieces together of the body that she found in the woods. Did you watch this dub or sub?
Subbed.
Okay. Did she do the annoying Sherlock Holmes shit for you?
Yes.
Oh my god. Because she's like, "Oh, dear Watson, I wonder what's up with this mystery." I'm like, bitch, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh man, that's some cringe there.
At least the voice for the Japanese actress isn't terrible.
Oh, it's all bad, man. Nerdy Rin meets with a handsome suited man for dinner. Michio and Friend Boy watch from a nearby table because they're playing a weird detective game.
Don't talk out loud, you lower the IQ of the whole street.
The man asks Rin to get serious about the relationship, and she begins to cry, telling him she doesn't even know her real name, how she was found 5 years ago naked on a beach with only a time fruit in her hand. So it took Rin, like, 25 years to regenerate?
Something like that. Or she's lying to him.
Or she may not know.
Yeah.
Also, she just happened to find that time fruit, yo. People who lose their memories don't lose their skills. I get that, but did Rin know how to develop future software before she was dead at the bottom of the ocean for 30 years? Or did she just get her shit together really fast and then learned it after washing up on the shore?
I'm just gonna assume she learned it.
Okay. Oh my god. At Rin's apartment, she receives a call from someone who never speaks. Which I actually thought was really kind of neat, because the guy who calls her every night still calls her every night, but since she's not her real self, doesn't talk to her. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Mm-hmm.
Michio confronts her father about the video she found of him and Rin. She tells him how she's been seeing someone who looks just like her walking around. At the shrine, the woman who looks like Rin tries to make her attack, and is stopped by nuns with guns.
Make 'em holy!
Yes.
It's pretty great. Also, did you ever think that one of those nuns was not Mimi?
No.
So you always thought that?
Was Mimi.
Okay.
I was pretty sure that was Mimi.
Okay. Tearful Koki Jr. stops Nerdy Rin on the street, asking if she remembers him. Once she makes it clear she doesn't remember anything, he pretends he must have got her confused with someone else and takes his leave, letting her experience the dream that is her new life and forgetting all the tortures she's experienced over hundreds of thousands of blah 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 years. Which I thought was a cool moment, because, you know, if you're in his shoes, you know what? Yeah, that's kind of what you should do.
Yeah, and forget that night that he tried to fuck her and failed.
He did kind of sexually assault her that night. At the shrine, Koki Jr. meets with the head nun, Mimi, who's been linking together a network of immortals around the world. He tells Mimi that in the years since they last spoke, he became the head of one of the top tech companies in the world. Neat. It'd be cool if we found out that maybe he still, like, had involvement with the AI, and that's how he used it to get to the top of a tech company.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
That would have been a nice little tidbit of a story that they never added.
It would have made it make more sense. Mimi tells him that someone has been hunting all the known immortals, and how the person doing the hunting looks just like Rin. We see Rin with the suited man in his office as he proposes to her. She shakes her head. No. But he takes her hand, placing the ring on her finger anyway.
Yep, like you're gonna marry me, bitch.
Yeah, get on with it. Michio is on the street complaining how it's Christmas Eve and how she's stuck spending it with the friend boy and not a real man.
That would suck to be him.
I know. Cut to them getting jiggy with it. We see the man fucking Rin over a desk, which is pretty great. We see that the man has a tattoo on his chest. I bet that will come into play later. Thank you, storytelling, for, yeah. Then one of my favorite lines of all time occurred, Bob, and you missed out heavily by not watching the dub, where the actress who plays Laura gives her all to scream, "Merry fucking Christmas!" and blows the fuck out of their office.
Merry fucking Christmas!
I'm gonna make some good use out of that come this December. I'm just gonna say that now. Oh man, I'm gonna play it for you later because it is amazing.
Okay.
As the two are blown up, Laura reveals herself to be the one disguised as Santa, disguised as Rin.
Who is Laura? Is that the assassin chick?
That's the assassin, yes.
Okay.
Laura is an assassin. Nearby, Michio hears the explosion and decides to help by downloading illegal programs. Dangerous programs. Laura fills Rin full of holes and goes to grab her time fruit when she is interrupted by Michiro, who has cloned herself.
I don't think it's cloned. I think it's holograms.
I know. But she implies that she's
bending the light.
Yeah, she also implies that she's controlling them. Like it's exhausting for her to do that. So there's some kind of physical thing going on. If they're like shadow clones. Her chakra is being split in 3. Distracted, Laura is kicked in the head, knocking her out. Sherlock solves another case. Am I right?
She's cleverer than you lot, and she's dead.
I hate
No.
you so much.
Okay. But wait, Laura activates her self-destruct sequence and is then shot in the head by Rin, who has now regained her memories. Our heroes flee as Laura explodes for what I swear to God feels like the 5th time. That woman has blown up a lot. I like the idea that when Rin died, she came back with her memories, but I would have preferred if they would have shot her in the head. You know what I mean? Like her brain put itself back together the correct way, and then she had her memories. I thought that would have been interesting.
I'm kind of curious. I was curious how the assassin kept coming back.
Hmm?
Like, it's revealed later she has a time fruit.
We knew that,
Spoilers.
though. He gives her a time fruit in episode 1.
Yeah, but how is she entirely cybernetic? Wouldn't her body just continuously regenerate inside the fucking...
There is a throwaway line. There is a throwaway line in the last episode where Apos explains that the human flesh around a time fruit is literally just a husk that it moves around to get from point A to point B. So I would assume that if you put a time fruit into another husk, it would just move that one around. I think is what we're supposed to infer from that.
See, I always took it kind of like Full Metal Alchemist, where it's the core and it regenerates around them.
I would think so too.
But then at the same time, how does it know that there's cybernetics around it not to regenerate over?
I know. It's stupid. I feel like they should have just had her... I think they should have made her Wolverine, where since she heals, they can put like weapons and shit in her body and give her like metal bones, but she keeps healing around it. I think that makes a hell of a lot more sense than giving her robot limbs.
Yeah. Well, on a robot chest and a robot head.
Like, she has got robot everything.
Yeah.
Except for maybe titties and a vagina.
So she's just time.
We haven't figured that out yet.
She's time fruit surrounded by Terminator.
Yes.
Well,
it looks more like mannequin, honestly. We then get a scene with the phone guy and Apos as they argue over who's going to eat Rin's fruit, if you know what I mean. Phone guy says Apos is running out of time, and Apos calls him the former Guardian. Do we know he's his son at this point? I can't recall. No? Okay. Rin meets with Kobe Jr. to catch up. She thanks him for not telling her who she really was when they met on the street, but does think it was a cruel thing to do. I was thinking about this before I started watching these 2 episodes, because I was just thinking about the idea of regeneration and living forever. If your body stays the same as it was, you know, when you consume the fruit, you're basically stuck that way forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You theoretically would never ever experience psychological damage. Like, PTSD would be impossible, because those things actually cause an imprint on, like, the physical matter of your brain. That's what causes...
What if you're like a super fat chick and you try and lose weight and you can't because it just
I think you're probably stuck. I don't think they need to eat. I think they just live forever. I think they just stay the same way. You're like stuck in time. You know what I mean? Like you're like Doctor Who. You're a singularity or whatever. I do think you could be like driven insane or be haunted by like experiences and memories, but the actual idea of psychological damage, I think they're immune to, which I really like, because that explains, it's almost like an accidental good writing, because it explains why these characters can go through horrible torture and rape and shit and not be really affected by it. Because if this was any other anime, I mean, Mimi would have been mind broke a long time ago. But she's not, because her brain can't experience that permanent damage. She has the memories of it, and she's haunted by them, but she's not, like, you know, getting triggered every 5 seconds. Koki Jr. is still so sad that he can't fuck Rin. She blue-balled him, man. She kissed him, and that fucked him up. I feel bad. Rin then takes a sexy shower and cries over the loss of Suit Guy. Somebody online had mentioned, I was trying to read up like other people's opinions on the show, because there was just so many things that I had questions about, and they were explaining how like Rin's entire character is a facade, that she's lived so long, every experience she's already had, so you're just numb to everything. Because like when you go down a roller coaster for the first time, it's like, oh my god, this is terrifying, but after like the 20th time, it doesn't matter anymore. You eat the same meal 100 times, it doesn't taste as good. So if you just live that long, every experience you have in life is gonna suck. It's just gonna be numb. It's like you're building an emotional callus. So really the only memories that you're gonna give a fuck about are your early memories, because those were the purest, those are the truest, right? So I like the idea that one of the big motivations of this show is people trying to basically hold on to good feeling memories. And that's kind of like the basis of like the time fruits being consumed, is that they're like a chain of DNA that remembers like the feelings, the experiences. And like these people who've lived forever can't experience those things as purely anymore, so they relive them through others. I thought that was really cool. Okay, my tangent is being ignored and I'm sad.
Yes.
Ugh. Laura returns to tell Apos of her failure, and how she brought him a present as her limbs begin to fall off. Is her limbs falling off part of the present, or is he doing that to her as a punishment?
He's Sith. He's in the Force.
Because she seemed confused as her limbs fell off. Apos then fondles her breasts and goes down on her limbless torso. That was odd. Also, this show is officially become just porn now. Not this scene in particular, just porn. Like, every aspect of it slowly becomes porn. We'll go more into that later. The next at Rin's grave, Rin and Mnemosyne dig up a case of old equipment, including the shotgun gauntlet. Oh, I'm glad that thing fucking came back. At the shrine, several immortals arrive to meet with Mimi. They then decide to have a lesbian orgy where Mimi fucks all of them. We get fingering, we get nipple licking, and we get an on-screen 69ing, people. What'd you think of that, Bob?
I didn't mind. It was fine.
I felt like a lot of the girls were ugly, though. Did you get that?
Yeah, they were generic.
I think they were supposed to be from other countries. Like, I think the one ugliest chick was supposed to be, like, white. It's weird. At what appears to be a castle, Apos carries a basket of time fruits to a tower of naked women who are begging for them. Apos begins to feed the women time fruits, and every so often shoves one in their pussy and or ass.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck, man? They're not, what's the word for the pills that go in the butt?
Suppositories?
Suppositories. They're not suppositories because they imply that they're like eggs. You need to open them to enjoy the gooey center. So putting them in your ass ain't gonna do much.
You don't know, she could be squeezing it open.
You're right, you got me. At the top of the tower, he takes the throne between one of their legs. He cracks a fruit, spilling the white fluid into his drooling mouth. Yep. At the shrine, Laura shows up, disguised as Ren again, in an attempt to get close to Mimi, but is stopped by the lesbian thoughts with samurai swords. Laura says she's not alone as several angels descend from the sky. I was slightly confused why most angels have weird face masks that cover their mouth when that's kind of their main deal, yo?
I don't know.
That was weird.
I was wondering about that too.
I mean, I kind of understood it when they're in the castle because Apos has a collection of immortals he doesn't want eaten, so them having the mouth thing could prevent them from eating them, I guess. Nearing the shrine, Rin starts to sense the angels nearby. She takes out a knife, stabbing herself in the shoulder for some reason, and tells Michio to stay behind. Rin finds the dog dead in a pile of ashes in the snow. When she goes to pet him, he just collapses.
I was so mad at that.
I know. It is really bullshit that they pulled that shit on us twice.
Why would the angels go after a fucking dog before some
I think Laura probably went after the
human
dog,
females?
Bob. I think Laura did the dog.
Ugh. I hate Laura even more now than...
I know. She then stumbles upon not just angels eating the samurai women, but actually raping and eating them. Finally! Not because I wanted to see them raped, because at least it makes sense. It follows the motivation that they established several episodes ago and did not follow through with. One of the angels gets close to Rin, and she pulls out her shotgun gauntlet, killing 2 of them. Laura and Rin fight. Laura is then defeated for the 100th time. Rin then goes to find Mimi. She finds Mimi on the top of a hill, nailed to a rock as she's being nailed to a rock by Apos. Rape jokes, people. Apos then reveals that he reveals that he also has tits and a hole that could be called a vagina. Apos grabs the Rin's knife, cutting open her chest and removing her time fruit. The end.
Yeah, I was very confused by that.
Which part?
The fucking murdering her. Because every instance beforehand we've seen where the time fruit's taken out, they're just dead.
Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, because there's a topic I wanted to talk about. We're going to go ahead and just do it now, since we're in between episodes. 2 things. One thing, this show is just Devilman. Apos is just Lucifer.
Okay.
He's the half-man, half-woman, wafy, thin, blonde. It's just Satan from Devilman. That's all that character is. And it's almost the same story. This is like Devilman Lady diet. That's what the show is. It's so fucking strange. Anyway, so the part where he cuts into Rin's chest cavity, it zooms into her face. Her face is flush. She is drooling. She is crying. Blood is coming out of her mouth. It is incredibly well detailed. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, they even made this porn. Because there's the concept of what the male gaze is. Most people don't understand what the fuck that means when they say it. It is the idea of seeing something the way that a man would see a sexual body part. Anything can be the male gaze. Looking at a fucking hamburger can be that way. So when you see her getting stabbed, that camera and that art is like, this is fucking masturbatory. That's what this is. And this show does it constantly. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying they're doing a good job. Some of it seems weird and out of place, but for the most part, it's amazing. So like something as simple as like one of the characters having a ball gag in their mouth, and they're mumbling and there's drool running down their fucking mouth, or every single time somebody eats a time fruit and they're basically just pouring hot cum into their fucking drooling mouths. Like, this is all, and it's shot in that way where it's like, oop, camera's gotta like look down their throat and gotta see that it's sloshing around in there. Like, as an example of something that fails at it miserably, I could do a 3-hour episode on the first 50 Shades of Grey film because it fails at every single thing regarding the male gaze. You cannot have a woman who is like bush naked for half that fucking movie and not make it sexy at all. They fail at everything. And this show succeeds even in ways it shouldn't, because I don't want to see graphic violence as a sexual thing, and they do it a lot in this show. I guess I'll move on.
You done with your rant?
I will never be done. Next episode, Rin awakens in a wedding dress in what appears to be a castle. She wonders how much time has passed since her time fruit was taken. She walks the halls of the castle, which is really, really Dark Souls. I mean, she goes out on the patio or whatever and like looks at the sun, and I'm just like, praise the sun. Where are the blood marks? She hears a noise from a nearby door. She opens it to find a woman begging to be killed again and again for sexual pleasure. Rin lifts her gaze up to see dozens of girls pinned to the walls of the room. Which we've seen that image like 20 times already, so it really loses any kind of an impact.
No.
Every time Rin enters a new area, I was just waiting for the boss health bar to appear. I really was. Rin is captured by several angels that are being controlled by Apos, who welcomes her to his castle. Mimi sits at a hollow screen with a bottle of vodka, searching for the castle she believes Rin is being held in. Why doesn't Mimi think Rin's dead?
I guess she knows that you can regenerate. I don't know.
I mean, I maybe.
How does she even know about the castle, though?
How does she know about anything? I mean, I understand that Rin might have told her some things, and she may already have some prior knowledge, and she learned things probably from the other immortals, but she has no reason at all to believe that Rin is not dead.
You were just gonna chalk it up to magic nun powers?
Magic nun powers. Magic lesbian nun powers?
Yes.
Okay. Michio tells her father that the only thing she found of Rin was a red time fruit. Mimi says it's the same as the one from Koki Jr.'s childhood. Okay. Rin is ball-gagged and spread eagle by Laura and is strapped to a table in front of a restrained angel. This is just porn, guys. It's just porn. Also, Laura has her normal face back for some reason. She tells Rin thanks to being so close to the... Oh my god, I fucked that up so bad.
You know what? She's an IKEA version of Immortals.
Oh god, what does that mean?
She just switches body parts at will.
Oh, so her head's a separate head? But I thought her fruit was in her head. Anyway.
That's what confused me earlier, but whatever.
Yeah. She tells Rin that thanks to being close to the Yggdrasil, her body grew from her fruit much quicker than normal. God, that's a mouthful. Michio asks... Yeah, she's modular. Michio asks Mimi why she wants to find Rin so bad. She tells her that many years ago she was being eaten by an angel and was saved by Rin. Did we really need that backstory? Do you really need a justification? They've known each other for like 200 years. Who gives a fuck? They're friends. They're lovers. They're everything. Like, she wants to help her. Move on. You don't need that explanation. At the castle, Rin breaks her wrist to get out of her bindings. She then removes one of the table's legs and stabs it through the angel. She notices that the angel has a chest tattoo. Oh my god, it's the suit guy. He then turns human to thank her before dying, unlike any other angel we've seen thus far. Yeah. We then cut to a nuclear power plant where something happens that I really can't fully explain or understand. Apos finds a guy who works at the facility. He makes him into an angel and has him go into work, where Apos has planted an immortal girl for him to rape that would trigger a meltdown to show the world that immortals exist to incite a war between America and Russia? Is that what happened?
I think he was trying to make it look like the immortal caused the meltdown.
But why is there an angel at all then?
To keep the immortal there instead of running away.
But she
That
was
way
tied
the
up.
news. I don't. Maybe
Also,
he tied her up.
the angel could have eaten her, and that would have ruined the plan.
True. That's true.
Unless
I think it was just a way to force her to be in the explosion.
I thought the angel either had a bomb on him or the act of raping her blew up the thing.
I'm pretty sure he just caused the meltdown and then fucking fucked her until it went off so that the cameras would see her walk away.
Wow, that's fucking retarded, man. Or maybe that was his gift for doing the job. Who knows? Michio and Mimi go to an island to meet with an informant for leads on the castle. Mimi
I was just what I was concerned about though was it took 25 years for Ren to regenerate from the plane explosion thing. How do you survive a fucking nuclear meltdown and regenerate like instantly?
When there is, well, you're right, because I was like, if you're being exposed to just radiation, you could probably regen pretty fast, but that crater was like real deep. That crater was real bad.
Yeah.
So even if it was a few days later, no, she'd probably be evaporated. Yeah, that's also dumb. Also, she would have regenerated so long after people would have probably have thought she grew out of the fucking thing. Like radiation, she was like a plant person.
Yeah. Now I'm picturing Rin just floating around in the ocean with like one arm out of a time egg.
Yeah, exactly. Like a fucking like a starfish. You cut one little tip of it off, as long as it has part of its brain, it regenerates its entire body. Sorry, we need to get back to the interracial lesbian sex. Mimi fucks the informant behind the bushes so she could be given a memory card with the information that she needs. Yay. The Guardian... Okay, where the fuck did I put this? Okay, here we go. Michio and Mimi arrive at a crumbling castle in Europe where no one dares to enter. They come to find the phone guy, who tells them that he was the Guardian of Yggdrasil before Apos took over. The Guardian must eventually be connected to the God Bride by blood and yield his position to the new Guardian.
Yeah, in the subbed version, they kept referencing white blood, and I kind of just assumed it was semen.
It is
semen.
Get that? It is semen, but in the dub they call it white blood too.
I'm starting to think it's not white blood. I'm starting to think it's the liquid that the cracked eggs have. See,
this is where it's confusing though, because they refer to Rin having received his. There's some weird thing where they refer to her receiving his blood, but that being a different blood than the white blood. So they're referring to him
but
fucking
then she's
her.
Pregnant, so she obviously got his semen.
Yes, I'm telling you now. We're gonna get there later, but this entire show, the whole like mythos here. This is all symbolism for sex and passing down your genes from one generation to another. Like, that is what all of this is about. And I think a lot of people who watch this show somehow missed that. Because when I was reading message boards from like a decade ago, trying to find people talking about this, they did not fucking grasp that at all. He says that Apos is trying to change the order of things by becoming an eternal guardian. To achieve this, he will give the God Bride fruit to Yggdrasil.
You know what? This is Full Metal Alchemist.
Kind of.
Apos is father trying to get all the information from truth, and all the homunculus are the immortals.
I think you're reaching really hard here.
Nope, it's Full Metal.
It's way more Devilman.
Nope, Full Metal.
My question is, why would this work? What does giving the God Bride to the Tower of Naked Women allow you to be the Guardian forever?
I have no clue.
Is it because he thinks that if the God Bride doesn't exist, he doesn't have to fuck her and then create the next Guardian? Is that the idea? Also, since he's a hermaphrodite, couldn't he technically just be eternal? Because this is the thing that doesn't make any sense.
Could he just fuck himself?
I thought they said that angels live for a short time.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So I'm guessing maybe they only live for a short time if they don't consume time fruits. But since Apos is half female, isn't he already immortal? He opens the door to another castle by using a katana to cut open his hand to make a glowing golden goo portal. Rin walks into a giant room surrounded by columns where Laura is waiting to detonate explosives to bring down the walls around her. If she would have just watched the walkthrough, this trap could have been avoided. Laura pounces on Rin, telling her that she no longer gives a shit about what Apos wants and will be taking her time fruit so she can feed it to the angels. Apos sends 2 angels to stop Laura, not to eat her, but to repeatedly punch holes in her chest. I can make a gif of that, just them, just one hole, just punching the same hole over and over again. They animated the fuck out of that.
Do it. Place it right here.
Oh, God, I haven't done it yet. I don't know. No, I'm not doing it. I'm
Don't
not
be
doing
lazy.
It, no. Michio and Mimi are approached by an angel holding Laura's head. Mimi tries to distract it from killing Michio. Laura's robot head then tells Michio where to find a gun, allowing her to kill the angel. They then become friends. I don't know. Rin finds her way to the center of the castle and Yggdrasil. She comes across Phone Guy, wounded from fighting angels, to get his way here. He tells Rin that the Guardians mate with the God Bride to give birth to the next Guardian. Rin tells him that she has been yearning for his dick for over 1,000 years. He lays her down for an epic fuck session, and we get a flashback where he meets Rin for the first time, on the battlefield. Though even back then she wanted his dick, he left her behind to save her from herself. While fucking, she says that she was lost in the world until she received her first call from him, and how he taught her to write and read. Did I get something wrong here, or did she not know how to read or write until after the invention of the telephone?
You think if she learned fucking source code or fucking software coding in 5 years, she could learn how to read and write in a few hundred?
I'm pretty sure she was alive for almost I don't know the time jump between like that era of Japan and when the telephone was invented, but I think it was long enough to learn those things.
Yeah.
He then puts a copy of his womb tattoo over her womb while he's impaling of Rin comes to an end. He is impaled by Apos with a sword from above. God damn it. Yeah, that fucking symbol, I knew that was a womb the moment I saw it. Did you not think that his hand tattoo looked like a womb?
No.
It's got that cow head thing going on. Where like the ovaries of it. No?
It didn't click.
Oh my god. The Tower of Naked Women turns into a giant version of the egg from Berserk. That was weird. Phone Guy tells Apos that Rin has been marked and no longer can be claimed by him. Phone Guy is slashed open by Apos. Phone Guy tells Rin to take his time fruit. As he turns into dust, Rin drops the fruit, rolling it towards Apos, who crushes it under his heel. That dumb bitch couldn't even do one thing right. She had to drop that fucking egg, that fruit. Apos tells her that all he ever wanted is to taste Rin's memories. The more painful the life of the person, the greater the taste. He explains that Yggdrasil is rooted around the world, collecting information gathered by the time fruits. And now this is, I know the actual term Yggdrasil is like, like Nordic tree of the different universes and all that other bullshit. But this is definitely Adam and Eve and the Tree of Knowledge. That's, I mean, it's the fruit. It's all a big fucking circle, man.
AKA Hohenheim trying to get access to ultimate knowledge.
Oh my god. It's
or not
fucking...
Hohenheim, father.
I'm telling you, the fruits are essentially, you know, I mean, when I say testicles, I don't mean actually testicles, but they're semen carrying the genetic history of all that came before it. And they're passing it on to the women so they can then carry... It's all about genetic lineage. That's what all of this is symbolism for. And it's got the Adam and Eve thing with the fruit of knowledge, the tree of knowledge, and there's so many things going on here. This fucking show does weird mythology and religion better than Evangelion does, because people think Evangelion is really deep and all, but the dude himself said, yeah, all the Christian imagery in Evangelion, that's just because I thought it looked neat. So, yeah, real deep. Let's see. He is also excited by the memory that Rin now has of fucking his father. I could have misunderstood that both times I watched it, but he kind of is just like, oh, now that you've experienced, fucking my dad and now losing him, that's gonna be a tasty memory. I'm like, there's some implications there that I don't like. The world will soon fall into nuclear war, which will enrich many time fruits around with painful memories. Michio and Mimi rush up to unleash their limit break, summoning a microwave laser strike from a space satellite in an attempt to destroy the God Egg.
How does that reach them if they're in like another fucking dimension?
Mimi says because she got weather patterns from the informant.
But they had to use a magic fucking portal to get there. How does a satellite know where there is?
You mean...
Could be like a pocket dimension.
Well, it kind of is, since they say that the Tree of Knowledge exists in an alternate dimension.
So how does the satellite even have access to it? Have a line of sight to it?
Microwaves.
Oh, that makes no sense.
The scene just doesn't need to exist at all. Abe posts... Okay. Sorry, I'm a little drunk. Apos whips out his tits and grabs Rin, tossing her into the God Egg. Michio grabs Rin's hand, trying to keep her from falling into the darkness. Before losing her grip, Michio loses Koki's time fruit into the egg as well as Rin. Apos decides to waste time waiting for the egg to do its job by raping Mimi again. I mean, you gotta do something.
I mean, wouldn't you?
See, it's hard to agree with that, but if I was a weird hermaphrodite guardian that was trying to become God Lucifer, and I had a young woman who was basically had no power to stop me, maybe, I don't know.
I'm gonna say yes, because I know you would.
The egg explains to Ren that everything is about cum. White blood, in and out, everywhere. Meaning that the time fruits are testicles and the whole white blood thing is semen. I know we've already spoiled that, but I wrote that. The egg asks Ren to join them, but she notices in her hand the fruit of Koki. Ren takes the fruit, cracking it open, and swallowing the white blood like a good girl. Ren receives the memories not just of Koki and the brother, but of every man from Koki's bloodline. It is then revealed that Koki is a descendant of the phone guy, who was one of the soldiers sent by the Emperor to find immortality. I like the idea of him being related to the phone guy, but I don't like the idea of her learning it by drinking his semen.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, because it's not a memory, it's lineage. Ren grabs through the darkness and finds Michio's hand and is pulled to freedom. Apos says that he'll force Ren back inside the egg. Ren stands, unveiling her pink angel wings, because vagina. Ren then gives Apos to the God Egg as an offering. Ren says that Apos has only ever tasted women, and could really learn from tasting a man. She scoops up the phone guy's cum, taking it into her own mouth, and then spitting it into his son's. These are things that happened.
They are.
Okay, that's not like a fever dream. That happened, right?
Yes, that happened.
Okay.
It's
Laura's
weird
head.
ass fucking parental cum swapping.
Laura's head then asks if she can go with Apos to make sure he's suffering for the rest of time. Ren grants this by shoving her time fruit into his dick hole. This happened.
Yeah.
It was really easy to get in his dick hole too. He must have a big dick hole, because she just kind of just points at his dick and it just goes in. It was impressive. The egg then opens into another tower of naked women, with Apos at the top, with Laura fisting him. She does have her hand kind of where his ass is, and he doesn't look happy. Ren is happy because after living thousands of years, there's one thing she's never experienced: childbirth. A year later, Ren looks over Yggdrasil from the castle window as Michio looks after the future guardian, a disgusting, ugly
ass baby.
It's
Yeah.
a horrible looking baby.
Oh, it was so bad.
Oh man. They're like, also they kind of changed Rin's physique a couple times in this, which was weird because they made her like skeletal but with massive tits. Like you saw her ribs all the time, and I didn't like that look. She looked better in the earlier episodes. It was a strange choice there. But I think, Bob, honestly, I know that ending is a clusterfuck, but it kind of makes sense. Like on paper, besides like the microwaves and the hermaphrodite and the god egg and all that shit, leave that out.
And the cum swapping.
It makes sense. Honestly, the cum swapping makes sense. The genetic passing through, all of that makes sense. If this show would have come out a decade earlier, this show would probably be held in the same regards of like Ninja Scroll and like other like hardcore, you know, graphic and like sex explicit anime from that era, because it's dark. It's actually kind of smart in a lot of ways. It's well done. It fucks with your brain. It makes you think. Anything that makes you think, if it's the first time it ever made you think, that fucking sticks with you. Because so many people think The Matrix is good, even though it's not. It's because it made people actually think outside themselves for a second. This show probably did that to a well worth of people. This show, like I said, it redeemed itself. It completely and utterly redeemed itself for me. So now, since it is the end of the series, I'm sorry to have it come to an end. We need to discuss our ratings of it. So, Bob, I want you to give me your... I'm blanking on my own terminology here. What is your personal liking of Rin out of 5?
Out of 5?
Yes, with halves.
With halves.
With halves.
I'd say a 3.5, just like before.
Now, what's your objective opinion? So, like, what do you think is the quality of it? Like, if you were to pass this on to another person, what would you say the quality of it is?
Quality of it, 3.
Why do you give it a 3?
There's inconsistencies. They're just confusing. The only thing that really redeems it is the art's really good. The characters are fantastic.
I mean, the voice acting's great.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I did subtitles. It's really good. It's just confusing as fuck, and there's shit that never gets explained.
No. Okay, so my thing is, personal opinion, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. If it wasn't for like 1 or 2 episodes, I easily could have given this a 4. The show, quality wise, I would say is a 3.5 as well. It is 1 or 2 bad plot lines from being amazing. Like, I could give this a 4.5 today if they would have rewritten 1 or 2 episodes. Like
the AI episode?
The AI episode isn't badly written, it just doesn't need to be there. I'm not going to criticize the show for that. I'm talking about, like, the fucking fairy outfit girl in her robot suit, like, trying to spread disease. Like, fuck all of that.
It's an hour-long episode, the robot, the AI one, just to introduce fucking Koki Jr. and to make her lose her memory. That's
yes,
an entire fucking episode.
Yes. Which, going back to the idea we came up with, where if the AI was a factor now, you could have justified that episode more. But that AI is completely meaningless. I would still recommend this show, though. I would say if you are an adult, this show is worth watching. Would you agree, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's why you gotta force your wife to watch this so she can listen to our show.
She won't.
God damn it. I'm gonna start pestering her then. Alright. Well, thanks everybody again for joining us. I don't have an announcement for what will be following RIN. We were spending a lot of time with Gundam. We have a huge Halloween episode coming up next week. It's gonna be massive. It's gonna be like an hour and a half long.
Have we decided what's next?
Well, I'm literally in the process of saying that we haven't. We have not. We have a couple things in mind. We have some things that are in the lead. The thing that I was planning on watching, Bob apparently watched without me because he's a piece of shit. And fucked everything up. That had big-titted elf girls and tiny cat girls.
We were thinking about watching How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, and it's worth it. Watch it.
Fuck. Oh, yes, everybody. Well, I can't watch it now because I'm too busy. I can only watch anime for this stupid show. Now I'm fucked. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for watching again. We are out. Bye.
See ya.
Fire when the strong